Good evening, everybody. I want to let a few people come in and I want to see if I can get started over here on YouTube as well. Let me turn my mic off, make sure my mic is off. All right. Good evening, everybody. And if you would, please let me know where you are coming to us from and let me know if you can hear me. Let me just make sure I have my audio. Yes, I have my audio on. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started, but if you would please let me know where you are coming to us from. Hi there. Oh, hi. That's my friend Gwen right there from Atlanta. It's so good to see you here again. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I may not be looking at the chat right this minute, but I will take a break in a moment and come back and look at the chat to see who is visiting with us this evening. But I really want to talk about this topic. And so I usually, as you all know, don't do a lot of live streams because I just don't have the time. I mean, I work, I don't know how many jobs I work. And I'm about to start school this semester. And so what I try to do in the summertime is read everything that I need to read so that I'm not backed up against a wall trying to read through the assignments each day. So that is what I have been trying to do. But and look, I have a lot of my friends out there, Sharice Lane and Sweet, my good friends. It's so good to see all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I didn't know that you were from the Bronx, Sharice. All right. I have a lot, my top, which is not, it's unbelievable to me, but my top city is New York. My top state is New York. Then Houston and Dallas, they kind of go back and forth. So those are my top three cities and states. So it's so good to see that I see you there. But today, you all, I have to stay focused. So good evening, everybody. I'm Professor Blackmore, and I want to welcome you back to my channel and to a live stream episode in my podcast series entitled, Has Bishop Squashed the Freak Off Party Power Bottom Rumors? And I feel like there must be a bomb in Gilead somewhere because these people are out here on this church house internet talking about how the judge has ordered something. And I'm looking all around the courthouse docket sheet for the order, and it ain't nowhere to be found. And so, ladies and gentlemen of this church house, courthouse jury, I'm coming back to you today for this single purpose, which is to dispel all of the rigmarole being reported about this case, honey child. And because of that, you know that I just report the true facts on here. And if I don't have the expertise to talk about it, then I'm not going to waste nobody's time. And so, in episode 32 of this podcast series, I talked to you about how the judge rebuked brother Tyrone Blackburn for using AI to provide citations in his court briefs. But also keep in mind that it was not the first time that I have detailed a federal judge admonishing brother attorney Blackburn in open court, because in episode 2 of my Diddy's Files podcast series, I detailed how a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, Sister Judge Coate, ripped brother attorney Blackburn a new one, wherein she seriously questioned his ethical character as an officer of the court. But I'm not going to talk about that today because y'all know I need to stay focused. And so I want to go ahead and move into some of the things and that we have already covered, but that I want to bring us up to speed so that we can be up to date before I get into the detailed court reporter transcript that I ordered from the court of the hearing that was held where, and I'm going to let you know about all that happened there, but let me not jump the gun, because in episode 32 of this particular podcast series, I informed you that on June 26, 2025, the judge entered this memorandum opinion in which he states, quote, while reviewing Blackburn's briefs, the court became aware of the fact that they contain wholly fabricated quotations from case law, including fabricated quotations from the court's own prior opinion, in addition to including non-existent quotations. The briefs repeatedly misrepresent case law, and the court has thoroughly reviewed. So let me go to the next. And so the judge goes on to say that the court reviewed and thoroughly reviewed Jake's response brief and did not find any fabricated quotations or misrepresented case law. Only Youngblood, through attorney Blackburn, submitted a brief that was replete with non-existent quotations and repeated misrepresentations of actual case law. And so I'm going to read this straight from here so that I can be accurate on what is being said. But even more outrageously, a review of Youngblood's reply brief demonstrates that it too included fabricated quotes and misrepresented case law. In other words, when accused of serious ethical violations, attorney Blackburn chose to double down. And the court says that this is very troubling. The court views Blackburn's conduct as a clear ethical violation of the highest order. The court presumes that Youngblood's briefs were constructed by generative artificial intelligence used by Blackburn rather than an effort by Blackburn to personally construct false and misleading briefs. And so I thought it was very interesting that he's saying this here, because what he's saying is that he does not think that he went to try to mislead the court, that he was using artificial intelligence. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a minute, because what people don't know is that this is a topic of extreme interest right now in the legal field amongst attorneys and judges. So I'm going to come back to that a little bit later, though. So the judge goes on to say, whoever or whatever drafted the briefs signed and filed by attorney Blackburn, it is clear that he, at the very best, acted with culpable neglect of his professional obligations. The alternative is that he acted in a conscious effort to deceive and mislead the court. At this point, in light of Blackburn's continuing offenses in his reply brief, the court is inclined to believe the latter, i.e., that the court at this point is thinking that he sought to deceive the court. He goes on to say, therefore, it is ordered that defendant Duane Youngblood's motion to dismiss, according to Rule 12b-6, and his reply brief are regarding the motion to dismiss are stricken from the record. In accordance with Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12A-4A, Youngblood must answer Jake's complaint on or before July the 15th, which we can see has already happened. And it is finally ordered that a show cause hearing will be held on July the 24th, 2025 at 1:30 in the said courtroom for Blackburn to show cause as to why sanctions should not be issued relative to his potential violations of Rule 11B. If Jakes plans to seek attorney's fees in relation to the litigation surrounding the motion to dismiss, Jakes and his counsel must attend the hearing. Otherwise, all parties and counsel are welcome to attend the show cause hearing, but only Blackburn's attendance is required. It goes on to say that Blackburn should provide a copy of this order to his client, Brother Youngblood, and file a notice of compliance on the court's docket sheet after doing so. Blackburn's attempt, because we know that he attempted to withdraw from the case as counsel, and so the judge is saying that this attempt to withdraw as counsel in his action does not insulate Attorney Blackburn from the repercussions of his actions. His pending withdrawal of his appearance will remain under advisement of the court until resolution of the show cause hearing. And so now that is the reason that I want to talk about all of this today, because I am seeing a whole lot of things on the internet, on this church house internet, wherein people are saying that the judge has ordered Attorney Blackburn to pay $76,000. And so that is the reason that I wanted to pop in here today to speak to the brothers and sisters of this courthouse, church house jury. And so I just want to bring a few things to our attention. And so I want to just talk about this for a moment, because this is the current docket sheet as of yesterday, because I have not looked at it again today. I have not had time. But as of yesterday, as you can see here, the judge has not entered any orders other than this order that I just read to you from, which is an order from June the 26th, 2025. And then the court did issue another order here on July the 8th regarding a motion for another attorney to appear in the case pro hac vici. But there are no other orders on this court. These are on this court's docket sheet. These are the only two orders. The court has not signed any other order at this particular point in time. And so when people are talking about the fact that the court has ordered Attorney Blackburn to do anything, I have to say that is not true. And so, but before we proceed any further, let's consecrate all of this mess with a moment of worship and praise in the form of an A selection from the Lighthouse Church. And at this time, I'm going to ask the ladies and gentlemen of this church house jury to please sow into my ministry using Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle.
We worship. Now let the music play, and I want you to open up your mouth and give God the praise he deserves. Come on, open up your mouth. Come on and open up your mouth. Come on and open up your mouth. We love you, Lord. We love you. We love you, Lord. We love you. From the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, I can't hear nobody worshiping. Come on and open up your mouth and give him glory. He deserves it. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. He's the first and the last. He was and is to come. He's the fairest of 10,000. He's the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. is the chief cornerstone. He is our Father, Jehovah, Yahweh. He's worthy. Hallelujah. Yes. Yes, we give you all. We give you all. We give you all. We give you all. Lord, you are worthy. If you said he's worthy, then give it to him.
All right, so I want to move on to the hearing that did take place, and I'm gonna try to read directly from what's on the screen. So the hearing did in fact take place, and so as per the judge's minute order, now this is the judge's hearing memo or his minute order. All of Bishop's attorneys appeared and attorney Tyrone Blackburn appeared. But I ordered a copy of the certified transcript from the court reporter that was the stenographer on the day of the hearing. And so I want to read from that because it provides some very interesting perspective. And when you listen to what you're hearing right now, I'm seeing people saying that the judge has already ordered sanctions and the judge has not ordered any sanctions. So I have this transcript here that I obtained from the court reporter. And at the time of the hearing, all of the attorneys, so this is normal, what happens in a hearing before the hearing starts, all of the attorneys are going to announce their appearance in the case. And so Jakes had, okay, I'm going to go back to this slide right here so that I can say very accurately. So here are the appearances for the plaintiff. When they say for the plaintiff, they mean for Bishop Jakes, because I'm also seeing a lot of things, you know, where people are talking about the fact that Bishop Jakes is in legal trouble. And I kind of have to disagree with that because no civil lawsuit that I can find has been filed against Bishop Jakes. No criminal lawsuit has been filed against Bishop Jakes. So Bishop Jakes, in my opinion, as an attorney of over 20 years, Bishop Jakes, in my opinion, is not in legal trouble. All of the cases that have been filed at this point are civil cases that Bishop himself has filed. So I just want to make sure I continue to reiterate that because this is all very muddled. This whole thing is very confusing to understand what's going on. Yes, we have attorney Tyrone Blackburn that's sending these. Thank you so much, Val. I see that you have donated to my ministry, so I want to thank you. But we see that Tyrone Blackburn has allegedly sent this demand letter to Bishop, and apparently he has filed this lawsuit to kind of fight back against all of that. And so he has hired all of these attorneys. And so he has 1, 2, 3 attorneys who attended this hearing. And then you can see Tyrone Blackburn attending the hearing. And then, so this one attorney for Bishop enters his appearance on that day, and he says, with the court's permission, I'd like to point out that Mr. Jakes is here in the courtroom in the gallery, Your Honor. And the judge says, okay. But at this point, the judge is really only interested in Brother Tyrone Blackburn. So he goes after everybody has announced their appearance. then he goes over and he says, and he looks at Tyrone Blackburn, and he says, Mr. Blackburn, I presume. And Mr. Blackburn says, yes, Your Honor. And then the judge says, okay, so a Rule 11 hearing, especially one that's ordered sua sponte. And when we say sua sponte, that means by order of the court. When the court on its own motion does something, that is said to be sua sponte. And so the judge says, this is highly irregular. So we have a Rule 11 hearing, especially one that's ordered sua sponte by the court, is a somewhat unusual proceeding. He goes on to say, so Mr. Blackburn, you are the subject of today's hearing. So for the record, sir, are you representing yourself, or do you have counsel with you today? And so then Mr. Blackburn says, I'm here alone. And so I thought that was very interesting, because that would really cause me to pause, because it's just very, daunting for a judge to ask you something like that. But any rate, let me stay focused. And so the judge, Mr. Blackburn, starts to explain what happened, what caused him to put all of these false citations in his motion papers. And so and I'm not reading the whole thing because it is a 30-page transcript. So I'm just trying to highlight the important parts, but there was a lot in this thing. I mean, he really went into the first when he tried to say, oh, I'm here all by myself. So he really did play a very weak role. And I think that Bishop thought that it would be a big flex for him to come into court with all of these attorneys. But in the end, I think it may backfire, but we'll just have to wait and see. And so Attorney Blackburn says, so he's talking about this new tool that he's using to construct his research. This is something that we have always used as attorneys, but now Lexis and Westlaw, these tools that we use to do research, it used to be back in the olden days, you would see all of those books, those hundreds and thousands of books that we would go into, but now they have put all of this stuff, it's electronic, but now they have added AI into the picture. So he's trying to tell the court that he is now using this AI tool that he had never used before, that was new to him. So I'm just laying the background. So he says, so I never used this Lexis AI thing before. Before I had regular LexisNexis, which required me just to, independent use search terms and all of that stuff. But this thing is completely different than what I am accustomed to. And when I had the ability to upgrade, this is what was sold to me. Not upgrade, but to renew my contract. This is what was pitched to me. I've been a Lexis rep since I was in law school back in 2010 up until, and I've been using them from then until now. So I didn't think there were any issues with them because of how it was sold to me. But again, not making any excuses, I will take full responsibility for not reviewing and really cross-checking what was spit out from the program after I had uploaded the case that I thought was relevant. I uploaded the court's opinion, and I also uploaded relevant facts for this. So let me tell you what he's saying there. So now we have these AI tools that allow us to take sources of information. So what he's saying is that he uploaded the court's order. Okay. He uploaded some things into this tool. When you do that, then the tool will spit back out. He's saying Lexis, I don't think I'm just being honest with you. I think he's talking about another tool that you can use AI to put all of these things into them the research, the judge's order, any search terms that you have, you put it all in there, and then it'll spit back out a brief. That's what I think he did. He's not really going that step. He's really just talking about the research. And I'm not sure if the judge is buying it or not, but I'm just telling you what happened. So, and this is Tyrone Blackburn continuing to talk. He says, so, that's pretty much it. I just made a mistake. I really don't have any other explanation beyond that. Then the judge says, so I appreciate that you're taking responsibility for what is acknowledging that the May 5th brief was created by the Lexis AI tool. Then Mr. Blackburn says, the protege. And then the judge says, what's that? He says, protege. It's called protege, is what he's saying is what this tool is called. And so then he says, oh, protege, I mean, what's that? And so then Blackburn says, and before I wish I had known this, but before I agreed to upgrade my subscription, I should have done more research on it. I didn't realize it had a lot of issues. And subsequent to having these issues came about, I've done a lot of research, and I've learned that there was a study done by Professor Benjamin Perrin who said that it's riddled with mistakes and should not be used in any form. Okay? So he's laying the foundation here for, what happened. So this is what I will say. Like I said before, that Attorney Blackburn, this is not the first time that I've covered a judge issuing an order, rebuking him for his, Rule 11 violations. What I will say is, I'm just giving my honest, my own opinion. Everybody else can say whatever they want to say. I'm just giving my own opinion as an attorney who has actually stepped foot into these same kinds of federal courtrooms. I have said, when I look at the orders that judges have written about him, he seems to weasel out of them every time. So when this all came about, I was just waiting to see how he was going to wiggle out of it, because I've seen him wiggle out, So at this point, when I'm reading this, first of all, when I'm reading people saying he's been, ordered to do this, I'm like, okay, let me go and see what's actually going on. And so here he continues to explain. And so the judge asked him, do you have a paralegal in your, and then before he could finish, the judge, Mr. Blackburn, this is another thing that people should be careful about doing, is because when you're in court and the judge is talking, you need to just let that judge talk. And then you wait and say, wait till the judge is finished, then start talking. When you look at this transcript, you can see there were many times where he cut the judge's talking and he starts talking. You just don't do that. But anyway, he says, the judge says, do you have a paralegal in your, he was going to say in your office. He says, I have nothing. I mean, the thing is, Your Honor, a lot of people that I represent cannot afford to pay. They can't afford to file their own cases. Then the judge says, so I appreciate that. And in this court, we have a number of lawyers that represent public interest or pro bono cases. But the problem in this case is that Rule 11 is a non-delegable duty. The judge goes on to say, which I thought was very interesting, because I'm just reading through, and then I get to the point to where this judge now is making it clear that he is aware of Judge Coates' order, the one that I was telling you that I have already talked about on this podcast in reference to the Diddy Files podcast series. So the judge says, so Judge Coates on April the 3rd, 2024, and again, I'm questioning the statement you've made in paragraph 2 of your declaration. When he's filing these declarations with the court, they're supposed to be sworn declarations. And this declaration states that Blackburn's actions in this and prior cases indicate a repeated failure to meet his Rule 11 obligations. And in that case, Judge Coate referred you to the court's grievance committee. And again, that was on April 3rd, 2024. Is that correct? And Mr. Blackburn says, yes, 100%. And so at this point, there are several things going on here. One thing is that whenever you file a motion pro hac vici in a court, you are swearing by a declaration that you do not have any other grievance or any other disciplinary actions have never been filed against you at all. That is almost question number one when you on the application. And he said he did not. And back when that was filed, I said on this podcast that is just not true, because this Judge Coate has filed an order that's a public record referring him to the grievance committee of that particular court. But anyway, the court goes on to say to supplement with a formal fee. And this is, I have just gone through a whole bunch of different pages. So you all, I don't want to bore you with all that went on, because there was the issue of the AI, and then the issue of Blackburn. I'm thinking the court trying to do some type of investigation of his veracity as it relates to his original application in this court to appear pro hac vici as attorney for Brother Youngblood. So I think there's two things that are going on here. And so at that point, the judge has taken all of their information. One thing that I forgot to note is that he swore him in. And what I would just have to say is that maybe there are, I don't know, maybe there are other attorneys who have had other experiences, but in my over 20 years of experience, I have never had a judge to ask me to raise my right hand so that I could be sworn in to give testimony. So that was very interesting. But anyway, so then they get to the point to where the judge is going to start winding down this hearing. And so he says, he's talking to actually Bishop's attorneys. He's telling them that they can supplement with a formal fee petition with any kind of supporting information, telling them that they can turn in their fees, whatever fees they had to incur for the motions that Blackburn filed. Because remember, he filed a motion to dismiss. Then when the court told him that it was not proper, you know how he did it, then he refiled that motion to dismiss again. So Bishop had to respond to both of those. Then he filed replies, briefs. Then he filed a served reply. And so all of that required Bishop to have to do, or his attorneys to have to do a lot of work. And so the judge is telling them that they can now supplement with a formal fee petition with any kind of supporting information regarding their fees. And then he tells Mr. Blackburn, I will give you 7 days thereafter to respond to that. So, okay, Mr. Blackburn says, and then the court says, and then I'm not saying, I think this is very interesting and very important for people who are reading all of these court documents on this courthouse internet. This part to me was very interesting. The judge says, and then I'm not saying that I'm going to find that that sanctions are warranted, or if sanctions are warranted, that fees are the type of sanctions that will be warranted. But I want to have a full record before me before I ultimately make my determination. So he's not sure. He's saying out loud, I'm not sure that I am going to assess any monetary type of way of resolving this at all. He's saying it right here. So we all just need to wait and see what the judge is going to do. But then he says, so you have 7 days, 1 week from today, which was July the 24th. Mr. Blackburn, you have a response within 7 days thereafter. And then after that time, roughly 14 days from today, which was July 24th, you will hear from this court in a very short order and resolution to this issue. The court goes on to say, look, and I just think that people need to take all of this in, because we need to just wait, because this judge is a very straightforward kind of person. He's not with a lot of, he doesn't have a lot of, rigmarole. He says, look, I appreciate that. And I like to say to many people that sit in that chair in other contexts, I appreciate when somebody comes in and takes responsibility. He's talking to Brother Blackburn. He says, I do. I guess what puzzles me in this case, Mr. Blackburn, I alluded to already in my order scheduling today's hearing, is that for an attorney who takes Rule 11 and frankly his professional reputation seriously, when the other side accuses you in a brief of filing a brief replete with nonsense to the court, including completely misquoting the presiding judge's own opinion. Again, what he did was he put that judge's opinion into that AI tool, and he didn't read anything that came back out. He didn't read it. He just, whatever they spit out, he just filed it with the court. But I just think this is a lesson to attorneys and everybody that you cannot rely on these AI tools. But anyway, he says, misquoting the presiding judge's own opinion, I think that due diligence would lead most reasonable lawyers to immediately take action to figure out what happened and to resolve it. Mr. Blackburn then replies, 100%. The court goes on, but that's not what you did. What you did is you filed a reply brief that included more AI hallucinations that made up a case that doesn't exist from the Third Circuit. And then, as they indicate, offers a tu quoque. You also defense saying to them, your brief is full of artificial intelligence. Well, we did a site check of their brief, and he says their sites and their quotes worked out. And so I guess I appreciate your coming in today and falling on your sword and owning up to what you did. He goes on to say, I really do. And then he goes down at the end and he asks Brother Tyrone Blackburn, do you apologize? And Mr. Blackburn says, 100%. And then the court asks again, do you apologize to opposing counsel? And Mr. Blackburn says, yes, I apologize to them. I'm very sorry for all of this confusion that I created. And for even having to come and deal with it. I should have been more careful and more clear with what I do, Honestly, there's nothing else for me today, honestly. So, I take full responsibility, and I have made a lot of changes, not only on this case and beyond this issue, the language, I do what I do, the people who and then the court just, I don't know, I guess he's just gone on and on. So the court says, okay, I appreciate that. And then he asks everybody anything before we adjourn. And so I just think that this was a lot. But before we go any further, because when we talk about the fact that the judge has ordered Tyrone Blackburn to pay these fees, I just want to make us all understand where this is coming from. But before I do, I just want to talk about the fact that this is what the judge ordered everybody to do. He said the plaintiff shall file any formal fee petition supporting information on or before August the 1st, 2025, which Bishop did do. And then the court says the issue of sanctions was taken under advisement by the court. So we got to wait and see, well, what the judge is going to do about that. And so then the judge says that Attorney Blackburn shall file a response to the petition on or before August 8th. So today is just August the 5th. So if there are people who are coming out and saying that the judge has ordered Tyrone Blackburn to file or to pay some money, well, how can that be when the judge is saying he's not going to make his decision until after Tyrone Blackburn has had an opportunity to file his response, which is not due until August the 8th. And so as we can see here, we need to wait for Tyrone Blackburn to file his response. But Bishop's attorneys did, in fact, file his petition for attorney's fees on August the 1st. And so that is what we have here. And along with that, they filed this proposed order. And so this is the proposed order that everybody is talking about. They're talking about, some of these things that is being said here in this proposed order. But when people need to understand is that most judges don't just sit back in their chambers and type up orders of the court. We provide the judge with a proposed order along with any type of motion that we're filing so that the judge, in his convenience, he can just sign off on the order. Sometimes if the judge does not like everything that's in the order, he'll take a line and strike through the parts he doesn't like, and then he'll sign the thing at the bottom. But what I'm going to tell you about this judge is that up until now, I have not seen this judge sign off on any proposed order. He makes his own orders, and so I don't expect him to sign off on this order. And you've seen him say that he does not even know if he's going to order sanctions. But as we can see here, what Bishop is asking for, he's asking that Tyrone Blackburn is ordered to pay Bishop $76,197.63. Okay, so that is what Bishop is asking for. So now this proposed order was attached to Bishop's motion for attorney's fees, and this is the document that everybody is calling the judge's order. And I just want to make sure that I say it is not the judge's order. I'm going to show you this document. This is the document right here. As you can see, it does not have the judge's signature on it. So it is not an order of this court. And I'm going to talk to you about all of the things that have to happen, even if the judge does sign this order. But before we do, I want to go into a moment of additional worship and praise from the Lighthouse Church again in the form of a B selection from our choir from the Lighthouse Church. And if you have not had an opportunity to sow into this episode, please consider doing so at this time using Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle information that is listed below.
You're strong and mighty God. You're strong and mighty God. A strong and mighty God. Yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. We reverence you, Almighty God. Almighty God. Almighty God. Almighty God. That's it, that's it. We love you, Jesus. just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. Can we sing that together, church? Lift it up, one voice. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. Yes, I worship and adore you. Yes, just want to tell you. Just want to tell you. Tell him. Lord, I love you more than anything. Yes, we do, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. I worship and adore you. And we came to tell you. Just one. Yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you. Yeah. More than anything. One more time, Lighthouse. Come on, lift it up, say. Said, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. We worship. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you. Say, Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you more than anything. Say, Lord, I love you. Lord, say, Lord, I love you more than anything. One more time, church. Say, Lord, I love you. Say, Lord, I love you more than anything.
Come on, put those hands together and bless the Lord.
So I want to talk about what has to happen next. And so even I've already talked to you about the motion and all of that, but once the judge does sign the proposed order prepared by Bishop's attorney, because since this case has been in progress, this judge has not signed any proposed orders. I mean, I want to make sure I get that across to you. But once the judge does sign this order, and once all of the work is done to turn it into a final judgment, then that judgment will have to be domesticated in the state of New York in a court in Tyrone Blackburn's jurisdiction, just like a separate lawsuit. So they can take this out-of-state federal court judgment and turn it into a judgment that can be enforced in the state of New York. And so before all these people on this Church House internet jump the gun on all of this, we have a long way to go on all of this. Now, Brother Youngblood has filed his answer. And I also heard somebody say that Bishop will have to file a response to that. That is not true. The next thing that we will see is the judge setting a conference so that the parties can begin their pretrial discovery. And I think we'll see Bishop's attorney try again to get the judge to allow them to serve subpoenas on Brother Larry Reid. So these are the things that we will see happening next. And I tend to think that the judge probably would not allow those subpoenas. But again, we'll have to just wait and see. And so, again, I want to go back to that part of the judge's of the court transcript, because again, the judge says, and then I'm not saying that I'm going to find that sanctions are warranted, or if sanctions are even warranted, that fees are the type of sanctions that will be warranted. So I just want to make sure that I highlight that point, because I personally, I mean, I could be wrong, but after reading the full transcript of the proceedings, I do not think that the judge will order brother attorney Tyrone Blackburn to pay anywhere near the $76,000 that Bishop is requesting. And I'm not certain that the judge will order monetary sanctions at all. I mean, I think maybe Bishop thought it would be a big flex to roll up in there 3 attorneys deep. But brother attorney Tyrone Blackburn took every opportunity to come across as a poor, weak attorney who takes on a lot of pro bono work. And I think he garnered a lot of sympathy with the judge. In addition, I will tell you that the use of AI is a very, very hot topic in the practice of law at this point in time, because the bugs are not worked out of it yet, as you all can see. And I recently read where this same thing that happened to brother attorney Blackburn happened to a judge who was also using this technology. And he put out an order that was cited as precedent, and he had to take that order back because it had, this AI, it had hallucination citations in it. And so I think the judge will buy all of brother Tyrone Blackburn's excuses. And so, again, I just want to make sure that we see again that there has been no order that has been signed by the judge at this point in time on this issue. But irrespective of all of this, clearly, I think that everybody can just see with their own eyes that this $76,000 proposed order is just that. It's just a piece of paper. It is not an order of the court at this point in time. In addition, as I have stated, a whole lot of things have to happen before even if the judge does sign this thing, even if he does, a whole lot of things have to happen. You have to take an order of the court is not a judgment. So you have to do some things to make that a judgment that can be enforced. And then once you do, then you have to take it over to the state of New York into their courts and domesticate the judgment before anything can happen to brother attorney Blackburn. And when that does happen, I mean, we'll see if a judgment is issued in this court case. We'll see that. But everything else that happens on the back end, we won't necessarily see that because it'll happen in a New York. I think it'll happen in a New York state court. I don't think they'll try to take this order over and domesticate it in a New York federal court. Maybe they will. We'll have to see what happens. But all of that has to happen. They have to file a whole new lawsuit to domesticate this judgment. So at this point in time, when you look at the question that I've asked, has attorney Tyrone Blackburn been ordered to pay Bishop T.D. Jakes? The answer to that question is no at this time. He has not been ordered to pay Bishop a dime at this point in time. But as I always do, I want to ask you all what you think about all this shady ass mess, honey child. I mean, after reading the transcript from the hearing, do you think the judge will order brother attorney Tyrone Blackburn to pay Bishop the over $76,000 he is requesting under the circumstances that I've laid out here in this podcast? And I also hope that you'll give me a big thumbs up. Everybody, please, please, please hit the like button. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this episode and my entire channel ministry, everybody, by donating to the Professor Blackmore Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. And I want to also ask that you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and set your notifications, because you all can never know when I may pop back through here and do another live stream so that I can visit with all of my friends. And before I get out of here, I do want to look at some of these comments that I have in here. Let me see here. I have my good friend right here, Shanita. She says, "How are you?" I'm okay. It's been a very busy summer. I'm trying to get ready to do something new in the classroom and teach a new little course. So that thing has me, I have to read some materials. So, Shanita, y'all need to just pray for your girl on that. And then I have my friend, let me see what Miss Val is saying. So you think the judge won't allow LR to be subpoenaed? I don't. Now I could be wrong about that, but I just don't. Uh, they have a lot of work to do here. They got a lot of work to do before I feel like the judge would allow it, because you have to be the judge has to have jurisdiction. I just don't think the judge has jurisdiction over LR. Let me see here. And then I have another friend who says, let me just make sure. I'm going to put this up here. Beautiful smile. Thank you so much. Of course, y'all know I'm going to put that up there. And I have somebody else that says, I don't think the judge think Tyrone has 77,000. Well, he sure did make sure he let the judge know he ain't got much. And I really do think that the judge is gonna buy all of that. I really do. I mean, I'm sorry. I have seen this guy weasel out of a whole lot of different things. So, I just feel like what people need to do is, you see, I just like to wait and get the document in my hand first. Then I come on here and I share it with you all before I like to read it a little bit, and and then be very mindful of what I'm saying, because there's a lot of stuff going on out here on this church house internet, y'all. It's very vicious. So I have to be very careful, but it is a lot of mess. I mean, I tell you one thing, it is a lot of mess. And I'm going to come back through here more often, doing a few lives. I'm going to find, one or two little issues that I can talk about very quickly and come back and do more lives. And at that point in time, there will be people who are members of my channel who will be able to come up and, speak. If you would like to have some comment about anything that we're talking about. Now, if anybody wants to, talk about anything that I'm talking about, just become a member of my channel. And that way I kind of vet you and know that you're not going to come up here and say something crazy. But I would love to have people come on and give their opinion. I'm just reading through here to see if I see any more opinions about this. But the thing about it is, I'm just going to tell you at this point in time, if the judge orders Tyrone Blackburn to pay anything, I'm honestly, I don't see it being more than $10,000. And like I said, if I'm wrong, I will come back. Y'all know I will come back and say that I'm wrong, but I just don't. I don't see it. So that'll be very interesting to see. One thing that I do want to say about some of the things that Bishop's attorneys filed, I felt like some of those attorneys' fees and paralegal fees that they were citing, I've never, some of them were a bit inflated, but these are big boutique law firms, but those fees were still I'm just saying they were a little bit incredible, just a little bit too high. And I think the judge knows that those fees were a little bit inflated. So it'll be interesting to see what'll happen. Let's see here. Seems like Bishop Jakes is not playing about false accusations. Let me just wait. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I have another person here who is saying, seems like Bishop Jakes is not playing about false accusations. Let me just tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I think he did nip it in the bud. and then he wanted to come into the courtroom and stare down brother attorney Tyrone Blackburn. I want to know how that felt. I think the only thing, what them people would be glad, and they can't put anything past me, because I don't have anything else to do but to go and fly over there to Pittsburgh. I would, if I had been in that courtroom, I would have went over to Bishop and I would have said, Bishop, I think this is a time for us to have a moment of worship and praise. You could just take brother Tyrone Blackburn and we can just, grab each other's hands and just have a moment of prayer, Bishop. If you are who you say you are, you would take this boy and pray for him at this point. That's what I would have done if I had been over there at the courthouse, but they didn't invite me. So but I would have expected Bishop, if he is who he says he is, he should forgive this boy and let us just go on down the road, because I honestly don't know what other juice we're going to squeeze out of this case. Brother Youngblood ain't got a pot or a window. So Bishop is filing this lawsuit. I think we all know who he's really after, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the fish that he wants to get, because I don't think this judge does not play. So it has to be by the book. And so if it's not by the book, this judge is not going to go for it. So I don't know if we're going to get those subpoenas that they are looking for. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let me see here. Let me just bring this up here. I'm just gonna let y'all read it. I'm just gonna say Bishop trying to teach Youngblood a lesson. Yeah, I think he is teaching some people a lesson. I don't really know what the lesson is, because I don't know, if people have something to say, I don't know if you can stop them from saying what they have to say. When you say Youngblood, which Youngblood are we talking about? Because we have Duane Youngblood, who said something that's not really a crime. So I'm just going to talk about me. I have never been a plaintiff's attorney. My background is insurance defense. I represent insurance companies. That has been what I had done in the past. Now I'm more in the classroom and doing some other things. But so even if I were a plaintiff's attorney like Brother Blackburn is, kissing somebody who's 19 years old or trying to hug somebody who's 19 years old is not a crime. If there was a crime like assault or battery, that statute of limitations has already expired many, many years ago. There is no way, if it's, that I would have sent somebody a $5 million or $6 million, $5 million, whatever it was, I would not have sent anybody a demand letter for that. So I don't know how all that plays in. It's a bit sketchy there. So that's one thing. That's one lesson, I guess. But if somebody feels like something happened to them and they want to go on somebody's podcast and talk about it, then I think we're getting into a different place if a person can't go out and speak whatever their truth is, if they got enough huevos rancheros to do so. So I don't think it was what Duane Youngblood said when we say Youngblood, teaching Youngblood a lesson. I don't know if it was what Duane Youngblood said that really gets me. What really gets me is what his brother Richard Youngblood said in the affidavit that is now a public record on file in this court case. And I'm not going to repeat what he said, but what he said takes the cake. And that all came from Bishop filing this lawsuit. I would have never, maybe somebody else knew that he did that. Uh, you know, I'm just, roughly quoting what the man said, quote, that he jumped into the bed with him and tried to the things he said. Just go back to the other episodes and see what he said, the direct quote. To me, that has done more damage to Bishop than this $76,000 he's trying to get, and whatever he thinks he's gonna get out of brother Duane Youngblood, who ain't got a pot or window. I'm just telling you, I don't think that Bishop has gotten his money's worth out of this yet. I think maybe people will probably think again before they come out and talk about these things. But at the same time, if it really happened, I don't, well, whatever the case may be, we know about it now. And so I think that's done more damage to Bishop than anything. Somebody's asking me, what do you think is more boring? To Ray? You mean to play? I'm sorry. To Ray or Korean Soul? I I'm sorry. I'm gonna say Korean Soul. Y'all saw them on there. I don't know why they would bring Korean Soul there for New Year's or whatever it was. I didn't like that. That didn't. I think no. I think even To Play is a little bit more interesting than I didn't like Korean Soul. Let me. Oh, oh, okay. He came back and he cleaned it up a little bit. He said, "Yes, that's a little bit more. I can read that. That boy Bishop trying to teach youngin a lesson. Okay, I say I can read that out." And then I want to thank all of the people who have supported my channel this evening. I want to thank Sister Val for supporting. I'm going to look over here on Cash App. Oh my God. Let me see here. Who is this? What is this? Is this Lord Jesus, one of my real good friends who I always get on for not supporting my channel? She sent me a little Zelle. Thank you so much, Shamika. I really do appreciate that, friend. Oh, wow. Now you really gonna make me cry on here. I want to thank Val. And then I want to thank Daniel Moore. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support of my channel. And then I want to thank some people from Cash App. Sister Shanita, who always supports my channel. Thank you so much, Sister Shanita. And then also Kendall Baker, I want to thank you so much for your seed offering here this evening. So I just want to thank you all for joining me this evening. And I have a whole lot of things that are going on this Church House internet that I want to talk about. And so I hope that you will all come back and join me again. And I hope that you'll also like this video, put the thumbs up, and please also make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Somebody here, let me ask this question here. Somebody says, does an expensive law firm give one a greater defense? I kind of have to say yes, because they have a lot of resources. They have a lot of attorneys who they can pull in, a lot of paralegals they can pull in. So like somebody like a Tyrone Blackburn, I would say, people who are solo in that way, they do all of the work themselves, then you don't have a lot of power, so yeah, an expensive law firm is going to give a greater defense. But let me tell you, like these people are saying $76,000. Trust me when I tell you, they're sending Bishop T.D. Jakes a bill just like that, just for work they did on this motion to dismiss that we have been talking about for months now. And so, y'all, some of these things I can't put on here. But I'm just going to say, bless you. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much for joining me this evening. And please make sure that you subscribe and then go into your notifications and specify your notifications so that you will be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea from this Church House internet. And I hope you'll also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Good night, everybody.
I'm a trouble. Yes, he is. And when you can't think of what he is, settle on the fact just to know he is. He's whatever I need him to be. Oh Lord, we bless your name. We lift our voices to say thank you for your goodness and your mercy. Let's go and sing it. Honor, worthy. For and your mercy toward us, for your mercy
and your mercy
toward us.